The National Commission of Women reported that they received about 13,410 complaints of crimes against women between March to September 2020, out of which 4350 were domestic violence. Now imagine if more than 13,000 complaints were received, how many actually happened? Because we also know for a fact that India has a very low reporting percentage and not all instances of gender-based violence are actually reported.
During the lockdown, there was a lot of reliance on mobile phones and the internet to report violence. But in India, we have a very large digital gender divide. In most families, phones are actually shared, and that access is mediated by the male member of the family. If a woman had to report domestic violence against, let's say, her husband, it was difficult for her to take her husband's mobile phone and dial a helpline number. The woman's body and her own experiences were actually being controlled by controlling her access to the mobile phone.
Imagine people who come from a lower socioeconomic background, who have a 1 BHK apartment or just 5 people living in one room. Just imagine the kind of surveillance that happens in that kind of setup. Does the survivor there have any sort of privacy where she can reach out using mobile or even talking to other women from her neighborhood?
Even for women who actually had access to mobile phones, technology did play a role in how that violence was actually experienced and perpetrated because of the power dynamics that surround that mobile phone and that technology. Women who are spending a lot of time on their mobile phones at home during the lockdown, this became a trigger for violence against them at home because women are culturally not supposed to be using their mobile phones much. It's considered a corrupting influence on women because they could be talking to strangers, they might be accessing pornography, etc. So they in fact were facing violence for being on the phone too much.
Women especially were doing a lot of unpaid care work because now that they are home and everybody else is also home, they have to take care of the family, of the children, of the grandparents, of the elderly in their home, have to cook 3 meals a day. Women had to do all of this alone. This app called Danso reported that most of the products that were ordered during the period of March to May were actually pregnancy test kits, contraception pills and condoms. A lot of unwanted pregnancies were reported. Women did not have access to sexual health services like abortion because in the initial essential products and services list, abortion was not included. So a lot of women also had to continue with their unwanted pregnancies. And although we cannot confirm that these unwanted pregnancies were a result of gender-based violence or marital rape, but there is a high probability that that could be one of the reasons why there was so many pregnancies reported during this period. All of these data sets tell us that women and gender minorities faced a high number of gender-based violence during the period of March to May in India.
The pandemic made it harder for victims to reach out for help or leave the abusive relationship or household. There are ways friends, family members, neighbors, or co-workers can help a victim.
Other people who are seeing this in front of their eyes should also have certain kind of responsibility or accountability to intervene when they hear, loud voices in the neighborhood or when they see that somebody is being abused by their family members or by their husbands.
If you know that someone is going through violence, please don't keep quiet. There are NGOs and individuals whom you can contact to get assistance.
And it's also important to not just live in your physical home, but in the community. Community intervention becomes really important, and that would actually then give the survivors also the confidence and trust that they can reach out to someone in the community.
When contacting a person who is going through violence, we should understand that the abuser may be monitoring her. She may not be in a safe place to have the conversation. But do not give up and have patience. The simple act of kindness in reaching out may give the victim the hope she needed. Listen to her respectfully and patiently. And one thing to remember is that your role is to support her and not to make decisions for her.